Hello there, and welcome to Live with Sujay. We're all the way live, and today in living color, lots of color in here. And I am so excited, ignited, and delighted to welcome you and to have as our guest today, Ken Miller. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Ken Miller Capital, is it?
Oh, that's what I call my little firm, yes.
Okay, so talk to us. I met you. We have a picture where we first met. It was at Bonnie Cannon's Bridgehampton Child Care Center, and under the tent there, we're there with Bonnie Cannon there in the middle. There you are, not too long ago at a wonderful Latin festival celebration. And so but I also have seen you recently interviewing during their speaker series.
Right.
And so we have a couple of pictures of people that were interviewed during those speaker series, and then we'll talk about, why you do what you do. So can we just see those couple of pictures? So that's with Reverend William Barber.
Right.
And tell us about his relationship.
Well, he was one of our speakers. We've been doing this program, Bonnie and I, and the center, for many years now.
Okay.
We started with Khalil Gibran Muhammad.
So that's our next picture. Let's just see.
Okay.
We have that one as well.
Yeah. He was the first.
Now he's up at Harvard now?
He was at Harvard. I think he's at Princeton now.
Okay.
And he's a great historian of America.
Yes.
Focusing on Black culture and Black history.
So I lived in the Lenox Terrace apartments when I was in Harlem, and he was at that point the curator or the director of the Schomburg Center for research. And so he's had a varied career, but so have you. So talk to us about the speaker series. What do you hope will happen? I've been to a few of them, and what do you hope will happen with that?
Well, I hope they'll go on. I think it's sort of unusual to talk about race and racism as we do every year here in the Hamptons, which is one of the most segregated communities in America.
I think so, yes.
Life behind the hedges. There's an old Black community in Sag Harbor that goes back to Revolutionary times.
Yeah, we call it historically African American community. So
people discuss
the different terminologies, but I live in one of those areas, Azure Rest. But it's quite an interesting history. But yeah, as you said, we have to lift to the forefront the discussions that aren't being had. And you're really good at that.
Well, that's what we do. It really is a great tribute to the center that they've gone beyond just helping families, which they did, as you know, starting with a tragic fire right after the Second World War.
Yes.
But now they're kind of helping both the Black and, if you will, the African American community.
And the Latino community now.
And the brown community understand more about the texture of American history. And the Joy Reid event, which you alluded to, that just took place
at Southampton Community College.
Avery Hall. People think like in the Leonard Cohen song, "Everybody knows." Well, everybody knows, but they don't really know.
Exactly.
And the horrors of segregation, the reversion that took place after the North won the Civil War during the Jim Crow years. You cover that and we bring it out.
And the traumatic impact that it has on generations who follow, which is really how we get to where we are now. You have to understand your history. There's a term called Sankofa. You have to know where you've been before you know where you're going. So that's really
important. And the white community needs to understand a little bit better how much they've benefited from the oppression of the African American community.
Very much so. But you're also an author. Now you host a lot of these public speaking talks, but you're also an author of a book. We have it here on set, but we also have a copy of it. Talk to us about High Finance. Oh, there it is up there by Ken Miller. Tell us what the thesis of the book is. You have wonderful, wonderful tributes.
Yeah. Well, there's no real thesis. And I would like to return to this question of race and racism in America.
We will.
Well, the book, it's kind of a miracle that the book is coming out. I'm 82 years old. And to have this is a novel. It's not nonfiction. It's stories. It's basically the story of a man who wants to get rich and who comes to Wall Street, a white man. And it's told in 11 different chapters from 11 different points of view. his British secretary, his Marxist brother, his one of his clients, an auditor who wants to bring him down for trading on inside information. This is not an admirable man, Dr. Sujay. He's not quite despicable,
right?
And but he's not he trades on inside information. He cheats on his wife.
Wow.
He is constantly doing pot and stoli binges. So basically, it's just entertainment.
But you have a lot of experience in the Wall Street community, where there is also a history of African Americans. I used to do a lunch hour service at a place called John Street United Methodist Church, right near Wall Street. And there, the African Methodist Episcopal Zion Church began because they couldn't sit down on the pews. They had to sit in the balcony. And so they moved up to Harlem and created. So there are these little pockets out here of racism. And so that's how I wanted to make sure we return to that conversation, because unless you share it, many people don't even know those stories happen.
Right. I mean, before I came to Wall Street, I started the first private sector fund to invest in black businesses
I saw
in the United States.
And thank you.
But it was a natural outgrowth of what I was doing in civil rights in those days.
Mm-hmm.
But in those days, there were like 3 or 4 or 5 black graduates of Harvard Law School.
Mm-hmm.
And they all went crazy. Some of them literally went crazy trying to integrate into the then so-called white business community.
Yeah.
And so this fund invested in minority businesses all over the country.
So what was the trigger? I mean, what was your why to do that? You saw the need, but what was your trigger? Why did you do it?
Well, I had gotten involved in the civil rights movement while still an undergraduate at the University of Michigan.
Yes.
And we're talking, I'm sorry to bring you back to the Jurassic period, but we're talking 60 to 64 here.
Oh my gosh, I was in elementary school, but that's okay. We were in school.
And so, I was in on a number of sit-ins and demonstrations. And I had taught at Philander Smith College down in Little Rock, Arkansas, a prominently black
I've spoken there, which is amazing. So what got you to Little Rock?
Well, technically, I drove down there on Route 66 in a Chevy car that my mother had bought for me. But it was a place I could work. It was the height of the Vietnam War.
Yes.
And I thought that was a really stupid war, and I didn't want to fight in it.
Okay.
And so I had an occupational deferment while I taught at Philander Smith.
Got it. Okay, so that's an amazing story. I haven't sat next to someone who's white who was in the civil rights movement, so thank you for sharing that story. Yeah, I was part of the King family, the extended family. Coretta Scott King.
I know you were friends with Coretta King.
Yeah, I'm a goddaughter actually, so I know the story from that perspective. And then I met Father Alex in the Greek Orthodox community, because they walked across the Pettus Bridge. But this is very interesting. So you were in college, I was in elementary school, but it was the height of all kinds of civil rights movements, sit-ins, walk-ins. So what was a highlight for you, and when did you most fear your life?
Well, I guess I was down there in Little Rock in 1965, and Governor Faubus was governor, and they were still using the whip in the state prison system.
Oh my goodness.
And so my students and I organized a demonstration against the use of the whip in the state prison system.
Well, thank you.
And I don't think it worked, but the Klan was real unhappy. The Klan is very much still around.
Yes.
So we were threatened and we were worried. But look, this happens out here.
Not too far from here. Yeah.
We had an anti-Klan rally not too many years ago in I think Southampton.
I heard West Hampton. West Hampton. Yeah. Okay.
And I went there, and that was a little scary. But the Klan didn't show up, and it was just another nice day.
Oh my goodness! So I always say this is called Headliners of Hope. Headliners of people on the East End. What brings you hope these days?
Well, knowing that you asked that question, I've given it some thought.
Okay.
And I would say, some people think that hope energizes you, but I feel like if you are energized, you create hope with that energy.
I love that.
So, if you believe in your own agency, like that, you can make a difference.
Yes.
And you believe that if you just push in the right direction, it will be good for your soul.
Yes.
Whether you make big change or little change, that's hope.
Yes.
That
yes.
gives us hope.
Yes. Yes.
Actually,
so it's not how big it is, but it's that you took some action.
Yes.
And towards change.
Towards positive change. This book is not didactic. It's just for entertainment. There's a chapter in there called The Informant.
Okay.
And in The Informant, a Black American is brought to Wall Street in 1935 by his father, who is what they called a shoeshine boy in those days.
Oh, I remember them very well, yeah.
And he didn't particularly want to go into his father's business, but for one reason or another, he does. And he's working at Lehman Brothers, where the protagonist works.
Yes.
And he outsmarts the protagonist. He basically, I won't spoil it.
Right, because I want to read this, definitely. High finance, yes.
You read no other chapter than The Informant.
Okay.
Thinking about it, I think that's the most hopeful chapter because his name is Johnny Washington, and he ends up outsmarting this guy who trades on inside information, who's a really big wheel on Wall Street.
Yes.
Of course, he loses everything in the crash of Lehman Brothers.
Yes.
And that's because he's such an unadmirable guy. That kind of adds a little pleasure to that.
I love
but
it.
he at Lehman he learns about haute cuisine.
Oh my goodness!
And he opens up the first haute soul restaurant.
I love it in Harlem. Yeah. I love it.
So anyway,
okay, I'm going to read this. That's exciting.
Good.
Yeah, I definitely.
I think I just sold another book.
I think so. So now I always ask this formula. A plus B plus C equals success, and you've been successful in many arenas. What's your formula? What's your A, your B, and your C? What has made you successful?
I don't know. And first of all, I don't even know if I'm successful.
That's a good thing.
But
let's talk about success generically. If you were to advise someone, what do you would say are the formula pieces there?
Well, sometimes you just have to get a job. I've been a roofer, a bricklayer, a carpenter, a postman.
I sliced ham in the cafeteria in college, and you have to do what you got to do.
Well, I didn't really need the money. My father was an insurance salesman, and he made enough. But I had a scholarship in college, and I think if you just persevere in doing something that you believe in and that you think you might be good at, I think that's a good path.
Okay, so some perseverance and some passion, and just keep just be persistent at it,
Yeah, it took me years to realize that you could quit without being a quitter. You could quit something, you could put it aside. Okay, I finally get the message.
Yes.
But it takes a lot of pummeling for me to get the message.
I love it. Where were you raised?
South side of Chicago.
Really? Okay. So how do you compare now? You're out here on the East End.
It's quite a journey.
Quite a journey. What got you out here?
Well, I started working with black gangs on the south side of Chicago, and I spent a lot of hours in the west side community.
Yes.
Working mainly with a group called The Hand that consisted of the conservative vice lords and the Egyptian Cobras.
Oh my goodness.
The Student Afro-American League and the West Side Organization. And I helped them buy the first McDonald's that was ever sold to a community organization.
That's amazing.
I went back many years later. The community was almost flattened by, this and that. But there was still a police department and a fire department and the McDonald's.
Okay, the McDonald's was still standing. Yeah. So now you invested in, you said, small black businesses. Investment of finance, but there are other investments as well. Time, talent. Talk to us about that formula? Like, what helps you see a business or you identify a business that you're going to help? What helps elevate them to get on their feet? Some call it sustaining or scaling, but what helps them to get on their feet?
Well, Dr. Sujay, today I invest in early stage businesses, but without
Yes.
any particular emphasis on race or
Okay.
gender.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, the key is the CEO, the founder.
Yes.
Who is that person? And in fact, when I was investing in black businesses, there was one in Baltimore called Super Pride Markets.
Okay.
And the guy who ran it, I still have a very soft place in my heart for. His name was Charlie Burns.
Yes.
And he was actually a nephew of Thurgood Marshall, but he was charismatic. He had been in the numbers business,
Yeah.
but he finally figured out that
the numbers is the pre-lotto times.
Yeah,
This is not. This was the illegal numbers you played. Yes, it was a real business.
So anyway, we became very friendly, and I helped him open a few other stores, and but yeah, it's the CEO that matters. And
you're looking for the drive, or the organization of that CEO, understanding of the books and business. How do you identify that this is a business or businesses plural that I would like to invest in?
I just look at a person who seems to have the relevant knowledge to succeed, and a big enough market that if they do succeed, it's
a win.
worthwhile.
Yeah.
And then, you look at the competition and a whole bunch of other factors, but basically it gets down to the quality of the person.
That's amazing.
And, it's weird because on Wall Street, where I was vice chairman of two big firms,
Yes.
Merrill Lynch and Credit Suisse,
Oh, okay.
you basically analyze numbers. But at the very earliest stages, the numbers don't matter as much as the drive and personality of the founder.
Okay, that's important. So I have two adult sons, and one is looking at combining JD like yourself and the business MBA. Is that a good combination these days to know the numbers and know how to do the litigation?
It can't hurt. It's just that, I don't have an MBA. I only have a JD.
Yeah. How did you learn? How did you get business savvy?
Well, weirdly, I think I owe it to the civil rights movement. When I founded Urban National Corporation, I didn't know about. I knew I had taken an accounting course, but I had partners who were graduates of the Harvard Business School, and they taught me about things like discounted cash flow analysis and all the stuff you learn in business school. But I would say you can be overeducated. I'd say,
yes.
and I think that the MBA, your classmates, you start to make connections.
Yes.
I would probably put a little more value on that for business. But I would say if your son has the confidence and the drive, maybe he should just get one of those and get to work.
Well, he's been a very successful entrepreneur. He went to Princeton, and so between Princeton and now he's done well. Princetonians, for some reason, start a lot of businesses.
Yeah, they do.
And so he's caught that bug, so we're wishing him well. I lived on the campus of Harvard's business school. They had a program called the President's Administrative Fellowships, and they were trying to get more minorities into the administrative arm of it. But it was just such a beautiful environment to be on that campus and then walk across past the law school and over to the divinity school. But that's also inspirational. So I would say environment also helps with kind of your drive and where you're going.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. There's an audiobook to this thing, and it's read by a black American from the south side of Chicago, just like me.
I love it.
And I think that everybody just has to choose something that they think they might be good at and then get at it. And if it's not fun, choose something else.
Yeah, and the good thing about living now is that you don't have to do just one thing. It used to be, particularly in our community, you get a good government job and you stay there till you die. You get the gold watch from the post office and then you die. And now there are so many options,
right.
So if you're prepared and you go for the opportunity, Ina Garten says, be ready when the luck happens.
Well, Hillary, who you used to work with, used to say, prepare to be lucky.
Now, I never knew that. I hadn't heard that from her. So I have two phrases now. She also said it takes an entire village.
Right.
And that's an African proverb. And I would agree with that, particularly from our community. I mean, we have aunts and uncles. The kids here culturally call, the adults who are the generation before them aunt or uncle, or definitely Mr. and Mrs., but you have to put a handle on it because it says that we value that you are investing in us.
Well,
In terms of our upbringing.
That's very gratifying for an old man.
Yeah. Well,
And
I'm
an
not
old
far
woman.
behind. You're an old woman. I said, I'm not far behind you. We do a show here at LTV, and I want to give a shout out to my production team, Zach, and all my production team. But we do a show here in July called Celebration of Black Culture. And so I do interviews with families that have been here historically. And the older women, I always have to ask them in advance of the show, what would you like me to call you? Can I call you Miss, Mr., or whatever, or your first name? And they'll say, call me whatever, because it's out of respect. You have to make sure the community understands I did ask the question,
Right.
that we respect the generation who precedes us. But now I'm one of the aunties, so I don't know what that means. I'm up there with them too.
You're a woman of great achievement. I've read about your pastorships and ambassadorship and now this
It's a
TV
great
show
journey.
and
Yeah.
what you've written.
So I went to Emerson College in Boston, and so I majored in communications back then, and I always wanted to do TV, and LTV was like, come on in.
Well, that's cool.
So thank you, LTV. This is one of my passions, and I love doing it. What is a highlight and what is a low light, if there's a word, that you can say just spanning your whole lifespan, highlight, low light, and how you took that low place and reversed it or transformed it into something good?
Well, I think the clear winner and the highlight is the woman that you showed in that first picture, who's my wife of many, many years now.
Yes.
We got together in...
Can we see that first picture again, Zach, if you don't mind? The one that I'm standing in the tent with next to Mr. Mill.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's Libis on the right. That's
Yes.
Libis Sweezy. We've been together since '71.
Oh my goodness, amazing. Thank you.
That's the highlight.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd say the lowest time I mean, well, there are two lowlights that come to mind. First, the death of my father when I was 12 years old. It was the center of my universe. I can hardly talk about the heart attack that took him away without any warning, without tearing up.
I'm so
But
sorry.
I think that's fairly common.
Mine died at my senior year of college. That was hard too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was very young, I was good at languages.
Really?
And so I had studied Latin in public high school, and when I got to college, I learned French like I was remembering it.
Yes.
And I was a good mimic. So I thought, I'll just study Chinese.
Yes.
So that's an insanely complex language where
Yes.
what it looks like, what it sounds like, and what it means are three independent variables.
Wow.
So I was studying Chinese while at the University of Michigan, and then I went to Yale in Chinese studies. And living in Yale, in New Haven,
Yes.
in 1965, I was a young man. There were no women around, and I hated being a scholar. I hated the life of a graduate student.
My goodness.
You were really completely under the thumb of these professors,
Yes.
and I just couldn't imagine spending the rest of my life there. And that was the year, but I needed to get the MA in order to be able to teach at Philander Smith. So I finished the Chinese studies and went south to teach Asian studies and French in Little Rock.
In Little Rock, that's amazing. That is amazing. I mean, just that connection just is amazing. But we're almost out of time. I would just like to ask one last question. So, transformation, what does it take to change something for good?
Like what thing?
You see a life or business that's not making it. Some will call it failure. But how do you turn failure into success?
Well, I mean, they say if you keep trying something and it doesn't work, you're stupid to keep trying it. So you try variations on a theme, then maybe you leave and approach it from another angle.
Yeah.
If it's the kind of thing that can wait, maybe you give it a year or two.
Or a decade.
Or
I mean,
a
I
decade.
tried for a White House fellowship under Ronald Reagan, so I was 21 years old. And I was like, no, you're not quite ready. You have some little aspects that will be good. Came back a few years later under President Bush, the father, and it was sort of like still not ready. But then when President Clinton got in, I said, I'm going to be a White House fellow. And I had done all the things, got the references. So sometimes I say fail your way to success, but it's preparing your way for what you really want.
And we talked earlier about hope.
Yeah.
And I said earlier, if you just push in the right direction, don't worry too much about permanent change or massive change or historical change.
Right.
Just be pushing in the right direction. It's good for your soul.
Yeah, I love that. That's a good way to end the story. So push in the right direction is good for your soul. I agree with that. So thank you for being with us. Just keep pushing in the right direction. Stay with us on this show. It's the right direction. Thank you to my team, and I hope you'll join us again for Live with Sujay, Headliners of Hope. And we also have another show celebrating Black women leaders. But whenever you do, keep pushing forward. It'll work out. Thank you so much for joining us today.